Well, hello YouTube, how you doing? I just have to get some footage off my camera actually, because I just did some footage then to show some of the things I'd actually gotten up to. I'm currently going to do a build, which is fantastic. It'll keep me from being bored. On top of that, it'll keep my mind occupied as well. So sometimes my mind does stray when it comes to most things in my life. So I'm just going to get some info off my memory card. This is the main thing here. I copy that across. This is sort of just a, I don't know, sort of introduction thing. Well, I guess you could say it's just me talking randomly into the mic. It's also me just talking about some of the random stuff. I don't know. I'm feeling a bit more relaxed today because the last few days I haven't been uptight. I just haven't been. I've been more focused on doing work and more focused on doing things. I haven't been sort of laid back and having too much fun with things, but not doing too bad now. Feeling pretty happy, so that's the main thing. So at the end of it, I think that's bring that memory card up. Let's have a look. Make sure I removed. Delete. And there we go. Okay. Put my memory card back into my camera. My lens cap back on it, because for the moment I'm not going to be doing any more with it for the moment. Back on there. My little Samsung, what do you call it? My Samsung digital SLR. So, what else have I been doing with myself? Well, I've been doing a combination of things, as you know. Currently, I'm was getting everything set up so I could actually do all my videos and stuff of that nature. Chatting to a friend at the moment. She's having problems with a snowstorm in her area in America, unfortunately. It does happen though. It is pretty wintry over there at the moment, so it does happen. So at this point in time, I'm trying to be the best possible person I can be. I'm also trying to find myself a little bit. I want to do stuff with my channel, but it's sort of lack the motivation sometimes. Or I do lack the motivation when it comes to making videos in particular, just because I'm not in a particular mood or I'm detoxing my system, sort of combination of. Because I do get those moments where I literally don't feel like doing much, and I get like a lazy moments, as I like to call them. I've also been using my weights as well. That's one of them. I've also got a larger weight there too, which I have used that one on and off, but I'm using that one more now just to build my core itself up, pretty much at this point. Between that and other stuff, I've just been basically trying to keep myself busy as I possibly could be. You know, I mean, nobody's perfect, and sometimes we get busy with things, sometimes we don't. Then other moments I've just been sleeping because I've been extremely tired and I haven't had a lot of energy. See, there are those other moments where I lack energy or I don't feel any energy at all. Got myself some new vitamin tablets. A new 150 thing of vitamin tablet, multivitamin with fish oil. Perfection. As I said, beautiful just in the sense of just keeping me, you know. I reckon anybody over the age of 30 should probably have a multivitamin. It's just my general consensus when it comes to that stuff. You should have a multivitamin, and it just should be a regular thing. I hate taking pills, I admit it, and sometimes my pills frustrate the shit out of me because I have to take a fair amount of them in certain situations. But they are part of who I am, and they are part of my regime. So, you know, I just go with the flow pretty much. I have moments where I don't take pills. I have moments where I do, depending on the situation. And I mean, look, most of the time I'm always on my pills, but I have a lot of supplements too. Supplements that I take, everyday supplements and stuff, which can do wonders for you in the sense of just general health and well-being and feeling good. Aside from that, just been the main things I've been sort of doing of late. The main stuff that I've sort of been focusing on is just getting the computer in the right order. All my games pretty much work where they should be and exactly what direction they're going in. Tech stuff which I've been looking up and which I've been reading about recently. Some of the interesting tech bits and pieces from Barnacules, Jay's 2 Cents, Linus, all those particular favourites on YouTube. Some interesting bits and pieces, plus Tech Syndicate as well. They've always got some interesting things to say on and off, and they seem like pretty cool guys. I get some pointers from them, but I also rely on my own stuff because I'm more of a budget conscious person in the sense I don't believe necessarily that those particular channels are budget conscious towards things. So, what else? So, I'm looking towards maybe saving up for a new graphics card. I have two 770s, and I'm thinking about getting either a 980 Ti or a pair of, I'd have to get one at a time obviously, pair of R9 Fury Nanos. Now, that's just something I'm considering. I don't know whether I will, and it's sort of something that's up in the air because I don't know. It depends on how much money I can save, how much I can invest in a given situation, stuff like that. Thinking about it, just randomly thinking about it, working on that premise. If it goes that way, I will. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, at the end of it, I've got two 770s. They're doing pretty well for themselves. They're still pretty functional. I was considering maybe upgrading my graphics, getting myself either a 980 Ti or two R9 Nano Furies, which, to be honest, makes sense for just my case size and everything else. It would just make sense to have two of those because they're just, the size is much better. It just suits my case a lot better because my case isn't that massive. I mean, I did have a massive case originally, which was an NZXT, but the NZXT case I replaced it with wasn't that big, so I had to make a few allowances. I got a smaller cooler, which the cooler still has the same cooling power for my CPU, and I got a yeah, I got that, and I'm sort of thinking maybe at some point, as I said, me switching over to R9 Furies, R9 Nano Furies would be probably a good idea, to be truthful. I think would be smart because of my case size and everything else. But I don't know. See, I have stuck with NVIDIA for a long time. I did have a lot of issues with NVIDIA drivers the last few months and the last few weeks, so I'm sort of reluctant. At this point, I'm sort of dodging in between, thinking, should I change to AMD? Should I not? Should I stick with NVIDIA? Which NVIDIA's drivers seem to actually be getting better, which is great. That's fantastic. But it still pissed me off that there were so many weeks and issues of problems. You know, like just things that couldn't be sorted out. And I'm like, well, what the fuck, seriously. Everything else is okay. I've downgraded my monitor from a, what I originally was on 4K. I'm on, what was it, 1440p at the moment, which is a 1440p or 2K monitor, pretty much. Pretty much, I'm on 1440p at the moment, which is doing pretty well. It's working. If I were to upgrade my video cards, I may consider going back and buying another 4K monitor, but I'd have to have the right video card firstly, or I'd have to have the right two video cards to do the job. Mainly because my 770s just weren't sufficient enough to actually do the job in the first place, which was rather frustrating at the time, but you know, it happens, unfortunately. But I mean, on 1440p, I'm pretty happy with 1440p because Going down from 4K is not, it's not that bad going to 1440p. I mean, it'd be worse if I was going to 1080p or something like that, but going down just to 1440p is okay. I bought a South Korean monitor, which it's a nice monitor, don't get me wrong. It's quite a smooth monitor. Looks quite nice. It's got a couple of different features and stuff. I can also run my Xbox and everything else off it, which is great. I've sort of tossed up. I mean, even if I get more graphics power, even stay on 1440p, I'll get a boost in frame rate anyway by going with either two of those R9 Nanos, or either by going with a 980 Ti. I'm damn sure that I'm going to get a boost, a pretty good boost, to be honest. At this point in time, I'm going to see how it goes. Maybe I'll consider it, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll save up for something else. I mean, it depends on what comes up. If there's more important stuff in my life that I've got to fix, whether it be contribute stuff to my business itself, that actually involves my repair shop and my bench, my workbench, I'm going to put money towards that more than anything else, and advertising and things like that, because that just makes more sense, to be honest. But on the other side of it too, I may consider what do we call it? I may take into consideration upgrading to a bigger card or a better card. I don't know at this point. At this point, I'm stuck in limbo because I'm not exactly sure which direction I'm heading with things. I know that the 980 Ti has a 6 gigabytes of memory, which is actually a lot more memory. Well, no, it's not really a lot more memory than what I got now. I got 8 gigabytes, but it's not probably fully internalized, especially with the latest drivers and everything else. So, I mean, if I really want to get the full potential out of it, I probably have to go with something, you know, in the sense of the single card. Even if it was 6 gigabytes, I probably would find I would get a boost in frame rate anyway. 980 Ti's are supposed to be a pretty good performer. Aside from that, what else am I interested in? I don't know. At this point, it's sort of a toss-up. I mean, there's a few things I've got on my shopping list on eBay, which are sort of stuck in limbo at the moment because I don't know whether I'm going to get any of them. What was eBay? Let's have a quick squeeze. I got stuff on eBay. At this point, my internet is not permitting for a lot of my YouTube stuff. Like, I wish it was more permitting. These are the cards that I'm ultimately considering. I'm considering a Titan with 12 gigabytes of memory. Just the only problem is the only problem with the Titan is that it's extremely expensive, prohibitively so. I mean, it's almost $2,000 here in comparison to you know, overseas. Like, overseas is probably way cheaper. So I mean, I've sort of got the options here. I've got the R9 Nano, which looks like a damn good card, and it's pretty much a Fury, just, you know, slightly underclocked a little bit. But I mean, if I get two of them, I'm going to be doing pretty well. Titan, which is almost $2,000, like $1,799, or I could just go a 980 Ti. Now, a 980 Ti, the difference is a 980 Ti is about $1,000 here, probably roughly, depending on where you buy it from. Which, to be honest, I'm just trying to. This is the justification I'm trying to work out, whether to justify the price or not, in me sense of in me splashing that much cash on something like that. Now, as I said, I do work to a budget, and I always try to work to a budget. I mean, how much is the R9 Nano is $977 per card, and I guess depending on where you go, you could be like $800 and something per card. So 800. So pretty much, I'm looking at about $1,600 for two of those. So it's cheaper than the Titan. It's more expensive than the 980 Ti if I get two of, or if I end up getting two of those R9 Nanos. So it's sort of a toss-up between the two, because it's a toss-up between the 980 Ti and pretty much the Nanos, because those are the two cheapest options that I've got, depending on where I shop, of course. I mean, I'm just looking at general eBay prices at the moment. And then you've got the Titan itself, which is 12 gigabytes of memory. That's great, but the Titan it's probably more expensive than the Nanos and the 980 Ti combined. So that's saying something, which is pretty fucked up. But that's something that I'm interested in. That's something that I'm keeping on my list anyway. But I've also got other stuff on my list too. I'm thinking of doing an Intel build, a better Intel build system, or an Intel build system. Probably one of the old i5s. I'll probably do an i5, reasonable motherboard, for like 4 gigabytes of DDR3 or something. You know, I mean, I don't know. I'm considering maybe Skylake, but it depends on how much I could get a Skylake build for. That's like a little build kit. See, that's something I'm considering doing at some point. I don't know whether I will, but if I get enough money together, I could probably do it if I needed to. Now, the other side of it too is what I consider in some way essential items, or to a certain degree essential items. I'm considering getting a bed frame, because this bed frame has wooden slats and I always have issues with my neck cricking in the wrong position, particularly, and it's frustrating. I'm considering getting a whole metal bed frame, which is about 190 bucks. So, you know, I mean, I could do that. I could do that pretty easily. I was considering to buy a new mattress, but I think my mattress is currently okay. It's not too bad. I think it's just the bed frame that's the issue. But I can get a new mattress for 135 bucks online, which, you know, is always cool. Another thing that I'm looking into is this chair's not too bad. It's a great, don't get me wrong, it's not a shitty chair by any means, but I've sort of worn it in, basically, and I have a tendency to do that with my chairs, is to wear them in to a certain extent. There's one that I looked at, which it's not actually one of the racing chairs that, you know, there's $400 racing chairs. I'm not going to get one of those. They're just too fucking expensive. But it is a very similar racing sort of chair, gaming chair, which actually specifies that, from Mullen Direct, which is actually $189, which I thought the price of the chair itself was pretty damn good. It looked pretty cool, and the chair itself doesn't look uncomfortable. By any means. It looks quite nice. It looks like a sort of, I mean, it's probably more of a like a no-name brand version of those racing chairs, but it's quite a nice design. It looks okay. It doesn't look shitty by any means. So I'm thinking about maybe getting one of those. I don't know, but then I think I've got this chair. Let's just wait until this chair's completely fucking worn out before I do anything. And I figured, you know, if I'm going to get a chair, I'll probably get another massage chair, to be truthful. Because I do like the feature of having a massage chair, or having a chair that massages your back, especially if you've got sore back, because I do get a sore back from time to time. Aside from that, as I said, I've taken into consideration the different, like 123s. The 123 video cards I'm considering towards future value. At this point, I don't know. It depends on cash permitting and how much money I can raise in a given situation. I'm not going to go overboard on it. I mean, at the end of it, I'm always a budget conscious person. I try to have a certain amount of money in the bank. Not just that, but I try to. I mean, I have to have a certain amount of money in the bank anyway to cover bills and things like that, because I do have my own bills and everything. I mean, yes, I do live with my dad and my nephew, but I give so much to my dad to be able to stay here. Rent contribution, food contribution combination, and then whatever's left over I end up using for myself, sort of combination of that. And then you've got the money that I also make on the side for my business, which my business is only really a hobby business. So sometimes I make a good amount with my business, sometimes I make not so great. It just depends, and it varies sometimes. Sometimes I go great and I make a lot, and I make like a nice chunk of change. Then other times it's just sort of in the toilet, you know, in the sense of what I make. It's enough to sort of keep me going and functional, you know what I mean? And then there's other times where I do have plenty of money, you know, where I'll have so much to get, like, actually be able to not blow, but, you know, just I'll have a good amount of spending money towards things I want to get in a, you know, in a certain situation. So I mean, at the end of it, it varies. It varies with the situation. It varies at times. And of course, you know, depending on things, I mean, the truth is, I don't really make a lot out of YouTube. I wish I made more out of YouTube than what I mean. I haven't really made anything out of YouTube because my YouTube revenue system has never got above a certain amount. Now, okay, my videos aren't perfect, I admit that, and they probably need work from time to time, maybe some of the editing issues, but I mean, at the same time, for considering that I'm doing it on my own, and I'm doing it without having professionals to hire and things like that, you know, and I'm doing it my way. See, it's sort of funny with YouTube. I do it for fun, but I also do it to help people out. I do it because I enjoy what I do on YouTube as well, so it's sort of a combination of that. So, I mean, the truth of the situation is sometimes I just simply do things because I enjoy them. At the other side of it too, I wouldn't mind if I could actually start making some revenue out of my YouTube videos, or possibly get people to actually give me donations or funding or whatever for specifically certain projects I may want to engage in, future projects or whatever. And I mean, as I said, some of the future projects I'm interested in, they're not over. I mean, the future project I was considering, like building an Intel system, an Intel iCore 5, which was a DDR3 system. This is $465, and you get the processor, motherboard, and RAM all together. And that's like a kit that I saw on eBay. I'm like, well, that's not too bad for a kit. You know what I mean? It's only an i5, but still, it's not too bad. I mean, that kit's pretty good. I'll be right back. I actually need to pee. Sorry. I had to pee. Oh, that is much better. It's good when you empty your bladder. So, as I said, this is my point. My projects are normally not that big in expenditure, in most cases. And I mean, to be honest, the truth is, in some cases I can make money back on that in a given situation. If I do a project, I might resell it, or resell the parts. I'm currently doing a PC which I picked up the motherboard for like 20 bucks or something on eBay, and the motherboard's perfectly functional. It's basically dual core sort of system. So at this point, I'm thinking I try to reuse parts that I do have, but there are moments where I have to buy in and actually get parts. And as I said, it does cost me money. So at the end of it, it does take a little bit of investment, especially when you're doing your own business stuff. I mean, yes, it's a hobby business, but it's something that I enjoy, and I have to put the money into it anyway. So at some point, I have to get that money back, whether it's through sometimes. I mean, look, because I'm a person when it comes to my repair jobs. I accommodate for people on a budget, and I accommodate for people who are on a normal rate. Now, that normal rate, I make a pretty good amount, but the budget amount, not so much. I do sort of lose a little bit, not heaps, but I do lose a little bit on the budget amount. So, you know, it's sort of a catch-22 thing when I do the budget prices. And as I said, I feel like I'm giving back to the community for that, though, to be honest, and I think it's a good thing that I do that. So at this point in time, I'm pretty much thinking I'm working towards video cards, or a video card. Which choice I will end up making will depend probably on my budget, on my amount of money that I can save up in a given situation, and will depend on also how much I make too, you know, over a period of weeks. But yeah, no, as I said, I'm always interested in different stuff on eBay. I'm the combination of that, though. I always love it. Shit, reset. Connection needs to be reset. Oh, there we go. No, it's reset. So, yeah, look. Nobody's perfect. I know I'm not perfect, and I know, you know, I don't know. As I said, most of the time I try to do my best with most things. I've had a couple of views. I mean, I don't know. My videos vary. Sometimes I get heaps of views. Sometimes people don't look at them as much. You know. Then the other side of it too is you've got to consider that I invest a lot in my. I probably invest a little more in my local advertising because of my repair business and everything else to get people through. I also have clients that I deal with as well. But I mean, I haven't really done any. I don't really go through and do a lot of web advertising and things like that. I probably have to do that more. So I might see if I can just get into some more web advertising and spreading my stuff out on the web, which, you know, is good. But I think eventually I'll get more subscribers and stuff like that. What else have I got? I don't know. I mean, I've got a ton of shit. I've got a ton of shit that I get up to. I've got a ton of things I do. Sometimes it'll either be a project that'll work with computers or... I mean, okay, I have a tendency to virus scan my network. Not just my network, but... Okay, well, I've got two separate networks. I've got my network, which is here, which is the first network layer, which is pretty much my first router. My first router is connected mainly directly to the phone line, which is my DSL. Now, from the phone line comes into the system, and then I've got a second router that goes through to the back of the house, which is sort of cast off and everything else. It's got its own separate IP and everything else. It runs through an Ethernet over power adapter, which is quite cool. That's cool. I've got that up and functioning, and it all seems to be working. But I tend to, when it comes to my workbench area, I tend to separate things out because it's just better in the long run, in the sense of the network sense of things. Like, you know, you get a virus on a computer, it's better to have at least have, you know, like, have to get through 2 freaking firewalls before there's any problems, to be honest. So I mean, as I said, because my Netgear does have a firewall, and so does the Western Digital router that I've got in the kitchen, or slash the lounge room kitchen sort of thing. That's got an extra firewall as well. So I mean, at the end of it, it's 2 firewalls to get through. Just extra layer of protection in my mind. So at the end of it, I've got everything set up pretty well so far. As I said, the only thing I think I can do is improve my internet speed by getting a shorter cable, which I'm getting 2 shorter cables. I've just ordered them. And I ordered a CPU as well. It was only like $10. We'll see if I actually get it. Because I mean, it was pretty cheap anyway, but I mean, it wasn't the most fantastic CPU. It was like 2.66 gigahertz, a 775 socket, and Core 2 Duo basically. Not a bad socket. I mean, as I said, the only thing I'll probably have to do at some point is get some motherboards for the individual CPUs I've got, which I've got a few Intel CPUs as well, 775 socket, which I can make up machines from. So ultimately, if I can get the parts together and sort of do these machines and fix these machines up, I'll be off and running pretty much, and I'll be off to the races, which would be great. That'd be cool. It would be perfect, actually, in fact. So at the end of it, I'm going to try and do my best, get things sort of working to a certain degree in a working order, which most things are falling into place. I'm not doing too bad. I'm feeling pretty happy. Computer-wise, everything in this house is healthy, or in this whole my network, or my whole network in retrospect is healthy. My computer's healthy. The only thing I don't know about is my nephew's computer, to actually see whether his is healthy in the sense of what anyway, like if he's got viruses on there. I haven't done a scan on his computer for a while, mainly because I haven't really looked at his for a while. The only thing I think that needs to be done at this point is probably a dust out on my computer, my dad's computer, the kitchen computer, and maybe my laptop as well, and probably most likely my nephew's computer as well. At this point, though, I don't know whether my nephew's moving out at some point. I don't think he's moving out right now, but at some point he probably will be, so it's sort of a catch-22 thing. So anyway, I think I'll leave it there anyway. Thank you very much, YouTube. Like, favorite, and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter, Twitch TV, Facebook, Google+, all those beautiful services. You can pretty much follow me on all that stuff. So if you want to stay tuned for more stuff, I got heaps more coming up. It's sort of in limbo at the moment because some stuff I can do, some stuff I can't do. Hopefully, I will be getting the NBN this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, pretty much, that I will be. So we'll see. All right, thank you very much. Stay tuned. Yeah.